I stand amazed in the presence of Jesus the Nazarene, and wonder how he could love me, a sinner condemned unclean. How marvelous, how wonderful, and my song shall ever be. How marvelous, how wonderful is my Saviours love for me. For me it was in the garden, he prayed not my will but thine. He had no tears for his own grief, but sweat drops of blood for mine. How marvelous, how wonderful, and my song shall ever be. How marvelous, how wonderful is my Saviours love for me. He took my sins and my sorrows, he made them his very own. He bore the burden to Calvary and suffered and died alone, singing, how marvelous, how wonderful, and my song shall ever be. How marvelous, how wonderful is my Saviours love for me. When with the ransom in glory, his face I shall surely see. 'Twill be my joy through the ages to sing of his love, to sing of his love, to sing of his love for me, singing, how marvelous, how wonderful, and my song shall ever Come thou fount of every blessing, tune my heart to sing thy grace. Streams of mercy never ceasing, call for songs of loudest praise. Teach me some melodious sonnet, sung by flaming tongues above. Praise the mount I'm fixed upon it, mount of thy redeeming love. Oh, that day when freed from sinning, I shall see thy lovely face, clothed in the blood-washed linen. How I'll sing thy wondrous grace. Come, my Lord, no longer tarry, take my ransom soul away. Send thine angels now to carry me to realms of endless day. Oh, take my voice and let me sing, always and only for my King. Oh, to grace, how great a debtor daily I'm constrained to thee. Let that goodness like a fetter bind my wandering heart to thee. Prone to wander, Lord, I feel, prone to leave the God I love. Here's my heart, oh, take and seal it for thy cause above. Oh, take my will and make it thine, for it shall be no longer mine. Oh, take my heart It's 8 o'clock on a Sunday. Evening, everybody! Regular crowd shuffles in. There's an old man, he's sitting next to me, making love to his tonic and gin. He says, son, can you play me a memory? I'm not really sure how it goes, but it's sad and it's sweet, and I knew it complete when I wore a younger man's clothes. La la la, la la la, la la la, la la la, la la. Sing us a song, you're the piano man. Sing us a song tonight. Well, we're all in the mood for a melody, I hope you are, and you got us feeling all right. Now John at the bar, he's a friend of mine. He gets me my drinks for free. And he's quick with a joke, or he'll light up your smoke, but there's some place that he'd rather be. He said, John, I believe this is killing me. As a smile ran away from his face. Oh, I know I could be a big movie star if I could get out of this place. La la la, la la la. La 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 la. Sing us a song, you're the piano man. Sing us a song tonight. Well, we're all in the mood for a melody, and you've got us feeling all right. I hope so. Pretty good crowd, I hope.
It is.
For a Sunday. Do you know what? I've just seen. What's this?
What?
Me here? It's a broken nail or something. It's disgusting, isn't it? I've got my children are wonky. Well,
Your children are wonky?
Yeah, they are. They've been lonky.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the organised show of Jonathan Veira.
Well, like, what's that there?
It's just a
Somebody's a child has come in there and peeled a bit. What
Bit
is
off
it
the
about my grandchildren? They've peeled a bit. It must be them. Well, it must be you. That's a pretty good crowd. It's really disturbing my equilibrium. Can you see it on the screen? It's a little kind of a stain.
Yes,
Can
yeah.
somebody provide some felt tip or something and just
that might be
get
what it
rid
was
of it
originally.
now? Rachel, could you get rid of this digitally, please? And if you can't, what have you been doing the last few weeks? It's a pretty good crowd.
Hello, everyone.
For a Sunday.
It is.
And the manager, she gives me a smile. And it's sad because Sue's got something wrong with her hearing. She said she might have to leave. She's got ringing in her ears.
Got ringing in my ears.
Can you be surprised?
I'm in the smallest room in the house with a large Steinway and Jonathan. What could possibly go wrong?
40-foot room, as everybody knows. It's a 40-foot room. I'm shouting to the other end of the room. Okay? She can't. Those of you who know this room, that you know how large it is. It's huge. It's magnificently huge. Because she knows that it's me, even with your hearing problems today. They've been coming to see, definitely, it's me, to forget about life for a while. Oh, and the piano, it sounds like a carnival, and the microphone, it smells like a beer, and they sit at the bar and put bread in my jar and say, man, what are you doing here? La la la, la la la, la la la, la la la, la la la. Sing us a song, you're the piano man. Sing us a song tonight. Well, we're all in the mood for a melody, and you've got us feeling feeling all right. And as the notes from the piano die away.
Well,
wait a minute, they've not died. Would you just wait? You don't stop somebody in the middle of the problems, do you? And go,
it was 6 minutes, 19 seconds. So who came closest?
So actually, if the good money was on a lot longer. Because
it was.
Yeah, well, I'm here. It's been a long time since I've sat at the piano here. How many weeks has it been now? So I don't even know.
Probably about 4 weeks, actually.
Is it?
It's the 24th of July. We were here last.
People, how have you kept with us? Why have you kept with us? Maybe it's because it's been me you've been coming to see to forget about life for a while. And the piano, it sounds like a continent. All right, here we go. And so Rachel's back, as you can tell. Sue's not running the show tonight. She doesn't know how to do that bit.
I do.
However, the breaking news is I've got a pair of socks in my pocket here. I just found them. I just put them. What are the socks doing in my pocket?
I don't know.
Should I put them on now?
No, please don't.
Don't put them on now?
No. They were on the piano.
Well,
Is
everybody,
that why they're in your pocket?
Hello. It's nice to see you. And Sue, we've missed you all. We've missed the shenanigans that go on here.
Have you missed us?
I bet you haven't.
I'm sure they have.
But here, I just want to say one thing. You've got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. When the road looks rough ahead and you're miles and miles from your nice warm bed, you just remember what your old pal said. Boy, you've got a friend in me. You 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 got your troubles, I've got them too. There isn't anything I wouldn't do for you. We stick together and we'll see it through, 'cause you've got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. Some folks might be a little bit smarter than I am, bigger and stronger too, maybe, but none of them will ever love you the way I do. It's me and you, boy, and as the years go by, our friendship will never die. You're gonna see it's our destiny. 1, 2, 3, 'cause you got a friend in me. Everybody sing out. You got a friend in me. I can hear when you're not. You got a friend in me. One more time. You got a friend in me. I just thought you better know that straight off.
Yes.
Power, dynamic, authority, friendship.
Toy Story.
Toy Story. Yeah. Did you ever? I never saw Toy Story. Can I just tell you,
darling? I
was
have
it any
to say,
good?
it was good actually. Yeah, the boys loved it. It was good.
I did that with Matthew at the local my granddaughter Poppy's school just a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it was Matt played the guitar, he sung, and I just played the piano, and it was quite fun actually.
Yeah, but you also did it at the.
I did it at the
you did it at the speech day at the boys' school.
Speech do not boys. At the school.
Oh, at the school. No, it wasn't a boys' school.
It was a mixed school.
Yeah, mixed school.
Up in Shrewsbury. That was good fun. We've been up and around and about. I tell you, it's been a kind of this week has been, or this month has been, and it promises to be 4 funerals and a wedding. I think that's sadly.
Yeah, sadly, yeah.
That's
the
been
way our year's working out.
Yeah,
it really?
It is. But you know, this is
life.
That is life, and that is the pattern of events. And for many people out there, it's been difficult times. For some people, you've had a lovely summer. I saw pictures from Gareth Hill. That was lovely.
Yeah,
actually meeting people over in Holland
with the family.
With the family, I've seen so many people. We got so many people too with lots of problems and issues that have been going on, and they do happen at the same time. And it seems like tonight our special guest will tell us. He was on the week before the Tour de France, and he's an extraordinary, and anybody who does any stage of the Tour de France, frankly, is the most magnificent cyclist. But he's a great and very interesting character. We've known him for many, many years, Kieran Doran, and you're going to see him around about 5 to 9, 10 to 9 tonight, and he's got a story to tell. He talks nearly as much as I do.
Actually,
not quite.
I would say he talks probably more than
me, but
yes.
with more content. To be honest, most people, mine is just flim flam. Mainly,
just a stream of consciousness.
Just stream of consciousness. Let me just say, I'm going to sing a song for you now. A few, what I would call I love my jazz standards. Some of them melancholy, some of them quite funny. Last night, let me tell you what happened last night, and it was one of those that, again, through this community, that happened. This is the 99th show. We started on April the 5th. And on September the 4th, which will be our wedding anniversary, we're doing a show on our wedding anniversary, which will be 40 years.
It will be.
And it will be 100 shows. We thought, actually, it would be a great way.
As opposed to 100 years and
100. Well, it feels like 100 years
yes,
rather
for
than...
some of us.
For some of us. And a lot's happened in that time. So we want you to put that in your diary, because that's the next show. We've got all kinds of lovely surprises for you coming up, people appearing and doing stuff, and it'd just be a celebration. And we really want you there. We want everybody that's been in the show from the start. Even if you don't watch even if you're watching this and you've seen a little glimpse of it, then watch it again. But last night I met up with dear friends of ours who looked after Sue particularly, and me, when we came out of the operation on June the 9th, June the 15th, 16th last year.
Indeed.
Sally Newman, and she was an absolute star, particularly with Sue that first week, and then
she
with
looked
me.
After me very well.
My memory of her is trying to get my pressure stocking on my legs.
Yeah, she probably remembers that as well.
Yeah, that was a happy memory. Oh dear, and although there were some nice bits in that. But let's not go there.
Yeah.
So putting my pressure stocking on, but her mother-in-law Sylvia, who's out there tonight watching, and Sylvia, I just want to say we met you yesterday. And it was such a privilege. You've had major operation on your face, and they've done such a fantastic job after post-op on reconstructing your face. And she's an extraordinary woman, a woman of great courage. And her daughter, I don't know if she's out there, Steph, who's been looking after particularly through this difficult time, through radiotherapy, through the operation, radiotherapy.
Long and difficult journey.
But all through that time, this is the friendship that has fun. I've known Sylvia for years and years, but I'll be honest with you, Sylvia, I was terrified of you for the first 26 years of our relationship, and now, well, even more than that. But what an elegant lady you always were. That's what I remember when I was a boy, and I was a boy when I first got to know you through your husband, your son Mark. And you've been listening to this show almost from the beginning.
She has. And
you tune in, and you always say, you tune out at about 9 o'clock when it's the religious bits, but it's not really religious bits. But I know you're in there. You go back to your bed and you listen privately, and then you pray for my soul. I know you do. I love you very much, Sylvia, and it was such a joy chatting with you yesterday and seeing your grandchildren all crowding around you. I said I was going to do...
And the great-grandchildren.
Oh, and the great-grandchildren.
They call her Gigi.
Gigi.
For great-grandma.
Oh, yeah, Gigi. And it was so lovely watching Ben and Emily, yes, who are Mark and Sally's children, and they've got the children now. And one of them, Emily, is my godchild, and Ben, he always called me Uncle Jar Jar, so that stuck.
Yes, the children call
you
Uncle
Jar Jar.
now, yes.
How many years later? Nearly 40 years later. I'm going to do this one. I did it at the wedding for our dear friend Rob Slater.
Yes, congratulations, Rob and Sophie.
Yeah.
What a fabulous day
It was a great day. And I was as nervous as I was going on at Covent Garden singing this, because we had all the kind of the musical glitterati were there, and I had to do this on my little electric piano. But bum wobble bum 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 bum. No one to talk with, all by myself. No one to walk with, but I'm happy on the shelf. Ain't misbehaving, I'm saving my love for you, just you. I know for certain, the one I love, I'm through with flirting, it's you that I'm thinking of. Ain't misbehaving, I'm saving my love for you. Like Jack Horner on the corner, don't go nowhere. Why do I care? Your kisses are worth waiting for. Believe me. Oh, I don't stay out late, don't care to go. I'm home about 8, just me and my radio. Ain't misbehaving, I'm saving my love for you. Like Jack Horner in the corner, don't go nowhere. Why do I care? Your kisses are worth waiting for. Believe me, oh yeah, well, I don't stay out late, don't care to go. I'm home about 8, just me and my radio. Ain't misbehaving, I'm saving my love for you, baby. I'm saving, I ain't misbehaving. I'm saving, I ain't misbehaving. I'm saving all my loving for you. You.
Wow, they enjoyed that. They did enjoy that. Lots of hearts for that one. Great stuff.
Strangely,
really good stuff.
It goes in the same kind of style, because it's the same kind of style. I played this, I think at the beginning of lockdown. Somebody asked it, or I played it, I can't remember. But with music, it went in the same stride. It's called stride playing. Cha, when you do ba, so you're playing broad, and Fats Waller, he specialised in that, but he was he was a king amongst pianists and inner voices we talk about in music. But this one, say it's only a paper moon sailing over a cardboard sea, but I wouldn't be make-believe if you believed in me. Yes, it's only a canvas sky hanging over a muslin tree, but I wouldn't be make-believe if you believed in me. Without your love, it's a honky-tonk parade. Without your love, it's a melody played in a penny arcade. It's a Bonnie and Beatty world, just as phony as it can be. But it wouldn't be make-believe if you believed in me. Without your love, it's a honky-tonk parade. Without your love, It's a melody played in a penny arcade. It's a Barney and Bailey world, just as phony as it can be. But it wouldn't have been make-believe if you believed in me. But it wouldn't be make-believe if you believed in me.
Wonderful.
So
I have to tell you.
Same style thing.
Yeah, same style thing. And actually, they've all been talking about how to put pressure stockings on.
You see, this is why we take weeks off. Can you not see, folks? You're putting pressure See, this is a sign of age. Can I just say that?
That and chocolate.
It's all about chocolate. So, 99. Now, when it comes to the 100th show,
Yes.
we need you.
We do.
We need you. This is an important thing now. To write in. Now, many of you have asked, some of you have asked to speak to us on the, to send a little message in. Some I have, and we've got that. We're going to have a number of those and special people that you recognise and some that you don't. And I want you to send in your favourite moment that you can remember of the shows over the 100 shows. Is there a moment that you kind of go, yeah, I love that? Just write in and tell us about that, and we'll read them out.
Can I just ask where they're going to write?
Now you're going to write in, and here we go. And I'm going to ask you to write this in, as I've asked other people to write the same thing. Now write this down. I'm going to do it very slowly, and I'm going to give you a chance to get a piece of paper and a pen. I was going to tell you a joke, but I can't remember anything that I'd like to tell you about. But just go and get yourself a piece of paper and a pen, or you can watch this back, and also. Rachel, bless her, who's here.
She's working so hard. She's actually writing it up on the screen.
She's doing it. JV Live Tech. JV Live Tech at gmail.com.
She's a superstar. She's done it.
So JV Live Tech.
This is happening live, folks.
At gmail.com. Now, those memories we will try and we will endeavour to read out during the show. Okay, there it is. Yeah. JV, is it?
Across Jonathan's face, even better.
Yeah, even better. jvlivetech at gmail.com and all of that. Now, I do love the fact that there are so many people with so many memories. We can't obviously include everybody, but we'll try and read out as many as we can to the show.
Karen said far too many to even start to recount.
Yeah, I know, but you will count them. There it is. There it is.
Well done.
jvlivetech at gmail.com. It's all lowercase and no capitals at all. And I'd love you to send them, and then we can sort through them, and then Rachel will send them to us, and we can read them out. Yeah. Because I think that'd be a lovely thing live. Yeah. We've got special guests coming in via recordings. We're going to have our poet laureate giving us a rendition of the 100th show song, May the Lord Help Us All. So Jerry's going to be singing it. He's going to have recorded it. And
is he singing it?
Yeah, he is.
Oh,
yeah. Oh yeah, don't mess around.
No expense
this
spared,
man,
then. No
he's
expense
a poet
spared.
laureate, so don't knock him. You know, I mean, okay, some of his poetry, I don't know whether it's going to make the cut in the final thing. You know, come the apocalypse. Which stuff would you take into the apocalypse with you? Now, I think actually.
Before Jonathan moves on, I just want to say something. I just want to say welcome to everyone who's perhaps watching us for the first time or for the first time in a long time. I know a few of you are writing in. Lovely to hear from people all around the world. Oh, really? Including our lovely ex-next-door neighbour, Claudia. Claudia, we miss you, darling. We miss you.
Claudia,
I'm sure you missed the noise.
We have some lovely Chinese people in there now.
We do.
And it's great, actually, because I've already learned to speak Chinese. Has everybody been here?
Stop it.
No, I can. And I could go, because I love vowels. And they go, hi-ya. That's the hi-ya. And I'm thinking, I don't know what that means, but I want it. And I can now say shishini, which is thank you, bokachi, which is it's a pleasure, and ni hao, which is hello. So I'm going really well. It's going to be a very, very short conversation, you understand, but they're a lovely couple.
But we miss you all. We miss
and we
you
miss
all,
you
Claudia.
kids. We miss you kids.
do, we
But it's
do.
lovely to hear children playing out and screaming down the garden again and crying and all that kind of stuff. But in fact, it's signs of life. The place has been so quiet.
Other people, I'm sure, are just sort of watching it for the first time. We've met some lovely people over our summer, and we're hoping that a few of you have tuned in.
Yeah, and we look forward to seeing you out in shows on the road. Listen, I'm going to sing What a Wonderful World. Who's this for, Sue? Because this was a special one, wasn't it?
Which one?
Wonderful World.
Oh, Wonderful World. Now, this is for a few people, actually. So, Hayley, my love, this is your favourite song. I know it's your favourite song because we met you ages ago in Pewsey before the lockdown, and you loved it when Jonathan sang it in the show, and I know you've loved it ever since. Today is your birthday, so happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And also for Evelyn Blackman, you have a new great-grandchild, lovely Poppy. She was born recently. Mary and George, Mary's birthday is today. And it's Mary and George's Mary Scott.
Oh, Mary, the lovely Mary.
Mary and George's anniversary is today. Clever man.
Well, very good. And
Very
Mary,
clever.
how are you doing with you? I'm sorry,
Yeah,
I
she's
haven't
fine.
kept up
She's
with
doing
you.
very,
are you
very well.
hopping around the
Very
world,
well.
or are you doing well? We're supposed to be going to a church near you, aren't we?
Hopefully.
Is that right? Yeah.
And dear Lucas from Melbourne,
Oh,
it was
yes.
your birthday this week. You were just a mere 60 this week.
He sent a lovely,
happy
lovely.
birthday.
I should have put that on tonight. I forgot
Yes,
that.
happy birthday.
Happy birthday band that he had. And he remember him and his lovely partner Chrissy came on and sung. She sung beautifully.
Yeah,
she did
Somewhere
actually,
Over the
didn't
Rainbow,
she?
I seem to
Yeah, I
remember.
must get her on the next album. And it was very nice. So happy birthday to you, and lovely to hear from you that day. So let's have this song because we've got so much happening tonight. It's a crammed show as usual. Wonderful World. This is from the album that we recorded in lockdown, and it was Lockdown Sessions 1 with the wonderful Raul D'Oliveira on flugelhorn, Mark Edwards on piano. That's right. Samuel Beckett. It's the dialist. And Arnie Sobergy on bass. Here it is. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of the people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. Well, I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of the people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you and you. Well, I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Oh, yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Beautiful. And John and Margaret, you requested this one as well. You were out on a walk, as John put it, several mics from where they live, 5 mics from where they live. I think he meant miles from where they live. And they suggested it, and it just comes to mind, doesn't it? When you see something beautiful, you just remember this beautiful song with Jonathan singing it with those mellow tones.
And let's not forget, I want to mention in this one too, 2 other groups of people, which is David and Sandra Goodwin.
Yes.
And David and Sandra, you've been great friends for many years. It must be nearly 30 years now.
Well, David and
was one of the
must
first
have
people
organised one of the first one-man shows ever.
Yeah. And happy memories of Sandra too, coming up to the Westminster Central Hall to do the Daffodil Day,
yes.
or whatever, Tulip
yes.
Day, or whatever
Daffodil
flower.
Day.
Anyway, Dandelion Day, whatever. And they've had a difficult time health-wise, continually for a long time. And they're not vocal online now, but they watch, and we welcome you. And I hope one day I'll be able to come up and see you, just
yes.
to say hello, drop in and say, give me a cup of coffee and to say hello to your dogs. We welcome that. And also, just a message I got from Penny Webble.
Yes.
Who
well, yes. Poor Penny had a major operation on her shoulder and had to go back to hospital and get the bad news that actually it hasn't worked, which is so hard when you've been through so much recovering from an operation. You don't mind if you know that it's worked, but to find it hasn't worked and they've got to do something else is a rather big blow. So, Penny, we love you and we dedicate that one to you as well.
And just to say, actually, on a lighter note, Rob Knee, or Rob Knee, as I like to call you. Is it Knee? What is it?
It's just knee.
No,
don't get clever. Don't get
I
clever.
like Knee.
Don't get clever. Just
like
knee.
Canut. You know, as in Canut. Canoe.
As in night.
As in canoe.
Just.
In when you see the bit, pick up a penguin. That's a different thing, Sue. It's a completely different thing. Why are you bringing that in then? Remember that advert? When
no,
you feel
we
a
don't.
little peckish. It's really not a good joke.
This is just a constant stream of rubbish.
It is, isn't it? Stream of consciousness. But Rob Knee, he said, I mentioned something about Christmas, and he went, don't mention Christmas. Well, I'm just going to say one thing. 126 days, shopping days to Christmas. I'm just going to say that. It's not many.
Actually, before we move on, I just want to hark back to the fact that Jonathan was singing that so beautifully.
Oh, well,
and we all enjoyed it so much. And we're all saying how lovely Jonathan's voice is after the break. And just a very nice moment happened. As you know, Alan and Jackie Slough have a lovely tea shop in Stow-on-the-Wold. And if ever you go there, you must go and have lunch there, cream tea, whatever. But it is the best. And they always play Jonathan CDs, which is lovely. So they were playing something by Jonathan this week. And a woman came up and she said, tell me, she said, is that Ken Dodd?
Oh, boy, do you know what that makes me feel? It feels like it makes me feel like a Diddy man. It does. It makes me feel like, oh, tickle my pit, or whatever it was that he used to say. Now, one song, and then we're going to have our great friends Andy and Gillian to come and talk to us about food banks, because a really crucial thing.
Yes.
Now, I think it's either Go Rest High or Just a Closer Walk. What do we think?
Go Rest High would be lovely.
I love this song. Let's put it on. Go Rest High from the album.
This is for you, Karen, just because I know you love it.
Yeah. Which one is it from?
It Is Well.
It Is Well. Did we want to sing this one? But I love this one. I know your life on earth is trouble, and only you can know the pain. You weren't afraid to face the devil. You were no stranger to the rain. So go rest high on that mountain. Son, your work on earth is done. Go to heaven a shouting love for the Father and the Son. Oh, how we cried the day you left us. We gathered round your grave to grieve. I wish I could see the angels' faces when they hear your sweet voice sing. So go rest high on that mountain. Son, your work on earth is done. Go to heaven a shouting love for the Father and the Son. Oh, how we cried the day you left us. We gathered round your grave to grieve. I wish I could see the angel faces when they hear your sweet voice sing. So go rest high on that mountain. Son, your work on earth is done. Go to heaven a shouting love for the Father and the Son. Love for the Father and the Son. We also think of Alan and Jackie Slough, actually, during this song, always their favourite song. One of my favourite songs from the album.
Yeah.
That's got Stars and It Is Well and that. But beautiful playing from the slide guitar player who played for Roy Orbison. Just think of that. Just think about that.
And happy birthday too for Fiona Richards. Dear Fiona, that was your birthday yesterday. So
Fiona and Colin.
A mere 61. So happy birthday yesterday, Fiona.
Fiona, if you remember Colin from Cap, and we plan to have, and this is my plan we've got a great number of shows coming in autumn. So many plans. We've got so many people who've agreed to come on. You've got some great guests. The week after we do the September the 4th, I've got a great best-selling author who's coming in, and this title of the books is Chris Wynn. I never knew that about, and he's got all around the country, so it'll identify with you. And I can't wait for you to hear him because he's a very interesting man and a lovely person. His wife has done the illustrations, and we had lunch with them just the other day, and she's a lovely person from Japan. Mai, her name is, and if they're watching tonight. Hi, nice to see you. Great
to meet you.
Lovely to meet you both, and we welcome you into the Steinway room on the 11th. And we've got loads of artists coming in, and friends and guests who've agreed to come in. Steve Legg is coming back with his beautiful wife Bex. They're coming in together. It's going to be such a lot of fun, and we've got so many other plans. And Bryn Howarth has agreed to come back in again, so we're just finding a date to slot him in. I know you loved him. And of course there'll be Sue Rinaldi. We've got our perennial favourite Sue, who you just enjoy having in. These are all the people that are going to come live into the studio and play with us. And we've got live in the studio now, we've got some great friends, people who've become solid, beautiful friends of ours over these nice 10 years, I suppose, actually.
Indeed.
And Andy and Jill Hatvarney.
Hello, lovely people.
And they're lovely to see you guys. Hi, nice to see you. Now, these are people, we haven't seen you recently, have we?
Can't remember.
Yes, don't ever come to our house for supper or something because you end up doing something.
You end up doing a show. But these people, and I don't want to embarrass them, but they are the people who don't talk about stuff but get on with it. And it's they are action people. And we admire them greatly because of the work they've done with Food Bank for so long. How long have you worked with Food Bank, both of you now?
Well, we worked out the other day that I've done 9 years and Jill's coming up to 8.
To 8, yes.
That's a lot of years.
It certainly is.
That is a long time. That's a long time. Why? Can I just ask you, both of you individually, Andy, why did you start it? Did you start it or did Jill start it? Who started it first?
Well, I finished work and I thought, I can't do nothing. So I thought, let's think about giving something back to the community. Yeah. And there were a range of options. And one of the options was a small advert in the local paper, which Jill spotted, to say that they needed food bank volunteers.
Yes.
So I thought I'd give it a go. And that was 9 years ago. And we are still here, working our way, sometimes 3 times a week. But it's so rewarding. So rewarding.
So it's, Jill, did you join at the same time? You did, I presume.
No, I was still working, so I started a year later, and Andy obviously had talked about what he did, and I just thought, I'd like to, get involved in that as well, and so we both ended up working at the food bank. Because
you at that time were teaching, weren't you? You had a class of 30 or something then at that time, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Little Liz, what year group was it?
Sorry?
What year group was it that you taught?
Nursery reception. Little Liz.
Oh, bless them. Bless their hearts.
For those of you who don't know, Jill and Andy are our opposite number. So they are our son Matthew's in-laws. He's a very lucky chap, I have to say.
He is
to have you as in-laws. And so we share childcare duties with our beautiful granddaughters, don't we?
And they come and stay here when they do it. So we're getting, over the years now, we've got to know them so well. And they are what they say on the tin. And I think that is... If you want something done, ask them too.
So what happened was that we were sitting chatting over supper the other night, weren't we? And I was asking questions about Food Bank because I every now and then I might sort of pop something in my trolley to take to Food Bank, and I just wanted to know, have you noticed a change in food banks as the sort of the crisis of cost of living crisis has got worse? Have people been behaving slightly differently, do you think?
Yeah, they certainly have. Not just the people who are coming, but the people who are donating.
Right.
If I can briefly bore you with some stats, which we have, just for the North Enfield Food Bank, back in 2015, right, we gave out 49 tons of food.
49 tons.
49 metric tons. Last year, we gave out 188 metric
my
tons
word.
of food.
So 400% increase. That's amazing.
And all of that has been donated by the good people of Enfield.
Yeah.
Good people of Enfield have done that for us. Yeah.
That is quite an extraordinary
that's
number.
Amazing. That is amazing.
And if we go on to the number of people, in 2015, we gave out 2,365 food vouchers, or we processed those vouchers.
Yes.
For singles, for pairs, children, big families, large families, and we fed 5,500 people in 2015.
Yeah.
In 2021, 5,309 vouchers were processed for 14,000 people in Enfield alone.
The need is just going through the roof, isn't it?
It is.
The need.
It is. Yes. I'm not sure whether we mentioned before, but during the COVID times, it was like a tsunami of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which we stayed open. We managed to organise ourselves so that we were as safe as possible.
Yes.
But the food bank, the North End Food Bank, did stay open.
Yeah.
But we had so many people come, and admittedly, the numbers are not as high as they were. There's still a lot of people in need.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I give you an example, last Thursday we had 50 families. That was on one day. 50. And some of them, 50 families. Yeah.
Oh, goodness me.
That's quite a lot. Quite a lot.
That
of
is a
families
lot, isn't it?
food.
That's an awful lot of families that are really struggling and really needing that extra support.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So what changes have you noticed sort of recently about the way that people kind of food they need or what they mention?
I think I mentioned to you before that some people are saying to us that they can't heat things, they can't have things that they have to put in the oven for too long because they can't afford the electricity or the gas. So we're having to be a bit more creative and give them food that either they can microwave or they can just put on the stove for a few minutes to heat up. So that's one of the changes. Another thing is that so many of the clients are asking if for fuel vouchers because the church, we work in association with Jubilee Church, and they are able to issue food vouchers, so fuel vouchers. So many of the clients are asking for those, and also asking for debt advice. There's just so many people out that need help. Yeah.
I do think we're talking about. I mean, there is a sense when I was talking to Adrian, the chairman of our charity, Adrian Pinnock, he was saying that he does get the real sense of the calm before the storm. It's almost like in wartime, it was the false war. There's that moment where before the big stuff hits. And if government does not do, and I don't care, this is party political, it's not party political, it's pan-political. Government has to help people in a major way over this next few months. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, certainly would. And you are correct. We're heading for the winter of discontent. Yeah. Basically, we are going to be snowed under. There's no pun intended there, Jonathan, but we are going to have so many people come to us because they cannot afford to heat or eat.
Yeah. It's going to be one thing or the other. They heat their house or they eat, and people that come, it breaks your heart actually. Some of the people that come and the things that have happened to them, and they've lost their jobs. They had a good job, a good standard of living, lost their job, got into debt, are coming to the food bank, don't want to be there, are angry, are upset because it's degrading for them to have to come and ask for food. And then other people come and they are overwhelmed by the amount of food that they get, because at the moment we're able to give them quite a lot of food, and they cry, and it makes me cry because it's just It's so sad. It really is.
Yeah.
I think probably the worst thing will be when we don't cry. When we look at this stuff and don't cry. If we become completely immune to the effects that it has on us. And I'm looking at you, and I know, Jill, I know you were nervous to come on here, but you are speaking with true and honest passion about what you guys do. And every time you talk to us about this, you have a story to tell. And it moves me. We're not doing this, we're doing other stuff. But I have to say, you are at the absolute grassroots. What can people do? Because we've got to move on. But
what can we do?
What can we in the community?
What can we do?
Those of us with money who can afford to donate and do things like that, what can we do?
Well, simply just keep on donating. And if there are people that could, do some fundraising or have a coffee morning or something to, get some more funds, just donate and just think about what you're donating, stuff that you don't have to cook in the oven for too long.
So no really... sort of Fray Bentos pies, that kind of thing that needs to go in the oven, really. But something that can be done in a saucepan, a microwave, or simply, long life milk that can be mixed with something to give the children something.
Donate some money if you can to, the local food bank there. That you can set up some sort of standing order if you want. There are ways of donating regularly if you want to, but that's what we need.
There are over, sorry, Jonathan, there are over 1,200 food banks associated with the Trussell Trust that we work with. But there are so many other standalone food banks around, and they range from being in schools, in churches, and even containers.
Work out.
And if people can do some research and find a local food bank, because they are able to assist. And you mentioned it the other day, Sue, that do you need plastic bags?
We do.
Yes.
Well, if people are going to donate some food, and they can do so via the local supermarkets, if you're able to put the food that you are able to donate into a plastic bag and put the bag of food into the collecting bin, because then the food bank will be able to use the plastic bag.
Simple, isn't it?
Simple, but
These
you
are
don't
simple
think
stuff.
about that. You just don't think about that. That actually people come wanting something, and then they have no way of carrying it home if they haven't brought a bag with them.
Or they've got children with them, or the other thing is you mentioned about Jill. You mentioned about treats for the children. Tell me what you mean by that.
Well, little bags of jellies, sweets, chocolate, biscuits, things that probably are not essential items. I mean, they do get a few of those, but we do run out of them quite quickly. And of course, they're pleased to have them. Things like that.
And the food bank has grown. When we first started, we gave out food, and that's the food bank. Now we are giving food. We're also giving out toiletries because there's a need, and they are costly. We're also giving out pet food to some of those who are homeless because they cannot afford to buy their own. And using, where do we finish?
Well, at the moment, I don't think at the moment in what was the fifth most developed economy in the world that we have that many food banks in this country is a national disgrace. However much that is a national disgrace, we are where we are and we're not where we want to be. And I hope we can drive towards eliminating in the future when Poppy and Lily, our mutual grandchildren, get to 20 and 30. I hope they're not living in a world where food bank accessibility is the most important thing. It's sold with the flat. Do you have access to a food bank? Listen, guys, I so love having you on.
Thank you so much.
This is exactly what I wanted to hear. Your passion comes through. And if anybody, we haven't asked for money for people.
No.
But you may want to donate directly to Enfield
or to your local food bank. There are a lot of people
Trussell
writing
Trust.
in saying they've got local food banks. Support your local food banks because they all need help, and
follow these guidelines.
As people have said, find out what they need. Jill and Andy were helpful to me, but there may be other food banks that have other needs in other areas.
That's the
so
point.
Find out and give what you can, even if it's just one thing. Just put one thing in. That will make a difference to someone's life.
And it's the widow's mite principle, people. Okay, I know many of you out there don't have much money, and you're writing into us and saying you don't have much money. If you can afford one can of beans, you can eat beans cold. Okay, I frequently do. Which is how
Not
I get up.
Not because he can't afford them, but because he's lazy.
But also, it helps me get up in the morning, if you understand what I mean. I don't get up in the morning. I blow myself around. Thank you very much.
Now listen, Thank you.
Thank you,
so
guys.
helpful, guys.
Thank you so much for coming on. We're going to move on with
well
the show
done.
now.
Thank
well
you.
done. And well done, particularly Jill, who was so nervous. She was brilliant. She must have her own show, I think, Sue. That's what it is. It could be the Jill and Andy show on a Sunday night. Anyway, just let's have. I tell you what, I want to get the man in. But I did want to sing one song.
I'm just saying that you were going to sing one for Michael.
Yes.
I don't think he's going to be able to stay for the whole
let's
evening.
sing that for him then.
So Michael, this one is for you. We know that you're struggling a bit with your new chemotherapy, and you were saying you weren't sure that you were going to be able to stay the whole course, shall we say. So this one is for you, and with our love, and we are praying for you and with you through this difficult part.
And after this, we'll have the video, and then we'll get our special guest in, Kieran Doran, who's got a story to tell us. If you could see what I once was, if you could go with me back to where I started from, I know you would see a miracle of love that took me in its sweet embrace and made me what I am today. Just an old sinner saved by grace. I'm just a sinner saved by grace. When I stood condemned to death, He took my place. Now I live and breathe in freedom. With each breath of life I take, loved and forgiven, back with the living. Oh, I'm just a sinner saved by grace. How could I boast of anything I've ever seen or done? Where would I be to claim as mine the victories God has won? Where would I be had God not brought me gently to this place? I'm here to say I'm nothing but a sinner saved by grace. I'm just a sinner saved by grace. When I stood condemned to death, He took my place. Now I live and breathe in freedom. With each breath of life I take, loved and forgiven, back with the living. I'm just a sinner saved by Swing, 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 swing. Oh, why don't you swing, 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 swing. Oh, why don't you swing that chariot, stop and let me ride? Why don't you swing down chariot, stop and let me ride? Rock me, Lord, calm and easy. I got a home on the other side. Swing, 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 swing. Oh, why don't you swing, 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 swing. Well, Ezekiel went down in the middle of a field. He saw an angel working on a chariot wheel. He wasn't so particular about the chariot wheel. He just wanted to see how a chariot feels. Why don't you swing down chariot, stop and let me ride? Why don't you swing down chariot, stop and let me ride? Rock me, Lord, calm and easy. I've got a home on the other side. Swing, 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 swing. Oh, why don't you swing, 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 swing? Well, Ezekiel went down and he got on board. The chariot went bumping on right down the road. Now Zeke wasn't so particular about the bumping of the road. He just wanted to lay down his heavy load. Why don't you swing down chariot, stop and let me ride? Why don't you swing down chariot, stop and let me ride? Rock me, Lord, calm and easy. I've got a home on the other side. And now a solo from the lovely Mark Edwards. You ready? Okay. Only he could do that. I can't do that. I'm not good at that. Here we go. Bring it down, please, Mr. Veira. Swing down chariot, stop and let me ride. Why don't you swing down chariot, stop and let me ride? Rock me, Lord, calm and easy. I got a home on the other side. Why don't you swing down chariot, stop and let me ride? Why don't you swing down chariot, stop and let me ride? Rock me, Lord, calm and easy. I've got a home. I got a home on the other side. I said, I've got a home. I got a home on the other side. I've got a home. I got a home on the other side. I got a home on the other side. Oh, yeah. Full screen.
Okay. Well, hello everyone. I am just going to do a few notices before we say hello to Kieran. So otherwise you'll all go to bed and you won't hear anything. So we start the shows on the 10th of September, which is very exciting. And as you can see, we have lots in the diary. So September is Westcliff-on-Sea, followed by lovely Worthing, followed by lovely Barrow-in-Furness. Then in October, we are off to Shottery near Stratford-upon-Avon. Romsey with our own Gareth and Joy. 15th, we're in Bucknell. The 28th, we're in Plymouth with our very own Carolyn Varco. Then November, we have another date going in there as well, I think. But we've basically got Lincolnshire, Bourton-on-the-Water and Portsmouth with the band. Not just JV, but with the band. And then Stoke Gifford at the beginning of December. If any of those have pricked your ears and you think, oh, I would quite like to go to that one in Worthing or quite like to go to that one in Romsey, the place to go is www.jonathanveira.com. All the dates and all the details are on there. So as soon as I have information about tickets, that's where they will go. They will go onto jonathanveira.com. Now, if you are a lovely person who would like to subscribe to our JVU YouTube channel, then you just go to Jonathan Veira on YouTube And we have some very exciting ideas as to what we can put on that. So it is worth subscribing to. So you go to Jonathan Veira on YouTube and you click on the like button, you click on the subscribe button, and you hit the notification bell.
Just to say, what's coming up, we've got a new idea. And if anybody's got an idea for this, it's JV on location. So I'm going to come to your place and talk about stuff. Okay, so if you do something like a generation game type of thing, and I go and help do some stuff. Go on.
I was going to say that. Never mind.
Oh.
So let's move on then, shall we, Rachel? If you want to get hold of me, I am on sue@jonathanveira.com. And any questions, queries, thoughts about doing a show, asking questions about a show, that's where you need to go, sue@jonathanveira.com. Now I've finished holidays and so on, I'm a bit more on it, so I should be answering your questions a bit more readily. If you would like to buy a CD or a book, and if you do, we can get Jonathan to sign it for you before it's sent out. That is www.jonathanveira.com. So those are the two important addresses. What's the matter?
No, she's just writing to me. She's continually writing to
me.
Oh,
she continually writing to me.
She writes little love letters.
Okay, right.
Okay.
We are very grateful to those of you who have given to YGAF recently. Very grateful indeed, because as we've been hearing from Jill and Andy, there is a big need for help for people who don't have of money these days, and they are running into difficulties. So for those of you who have given, thank you very much. For those of you who would need something, please would you let us know, because we do have some funds there, and we are terribly grateful to Adrian and the trustees who will find out more about what your needs are, and will talk about what they can provide and so on. But we know that for some of you, picking up the phone or just writing that message is the most difficult bit. But please do it, please. Don't sit there and think, actually, I could really use a bit of money to help me buy the food, or I wish that I had something else. For those of you who would like to join the Facebook group, as a lot of people have, that is facebook.com groups JV Community Official. You will be asked a couple of questions. Please, would you answer them? Because it's so much easier if you answer them. And if you have friends that you would like to encourage to join, would you get them to answer the questions? Would you tell them to join us and they can answer the questions?
Because we have lots of people there who have answered no questions.
Indeed.
Everybody's said.
And as Jonathan mentioned, our next show, which will be in 2 weeks' time, is our big 100. JV, live from the community. We've been doing it for 100 shows. I cannot believe it. I remember that first one so well. So that's on the 4th of September 2022 at 8 p.m. in the evening, a big celebration. Those of you who've got happy memories of the show, please just write them into JV Live Tech. Those of you who don't have happy memories, then please don't write them in.
Yes, go and watch somebody else's show.
Go and watch someone else that you like.
Well,
thank you for your patience. I will now go.
Thank you, Susan Ann. What a great set of quick. I'm sorry, I didn't realise you were going to say something about JV and location. We've got all kinds of ideas. Anyway, we've got a great big idea, and one of the biggest ideas was actually inviting my next guest. He came for dinner, just with one of those rare occasions where we had people in the house and we had a barbecue and we sat out in the garden. And he and his wife came, the lovely Gillian, who's watching tonight, and she's in my choir, and he comes and plays the clarinet. He's the most talented, diversely talented man. He's a very, very bright man. He was a kind of a man who led the local Lib Dem party. He was a secretary or whatever you were, the chair, and you were putting a rocket up people, and nearly we got Zoe in last time. You're a man of faith. You're a man of extraordinary expertise. You were a sound engineer, trained as that first of all here in Guildford in Surrey, and now you're doing so many other things that you're going to talk about. But your story was so fascinating that I said to David Hicks, who's sitting out there, one of the members of the community, and he was here with us that night. And I just said, you've got to come and tell the community. It's just too good a story. And so here we are. Welcome to JV Live in the Steinway room.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honour to be here, having watched so many of the original programmes. And I can't quite believe I'm sitting here in this Steinway room.
It's such a tiny. You thought it was in the studio, didn't you?
I thought it was in the studio, but absolutely, this is amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's so small. Everybody who comes in, they all say the same thing. Can we have a tour of the Steinway room? I say,
tour of
8
the
seconds.
Open the door.
Yes, that was it.
There it is.
Sit down.
You are a man of. Judging from your accent, you weren't first born in Surrey, were you? I mean, I'm just guessing that. I'm going for
I think
somewhere
actually,
else.
You could probably do a better Irish accent than me, Jonathan.
Now you've been away a long
yes,
time, haven't you?
I have.
You
I
have been
came
free. The
here-
accent's on.
I have.
I want a bit more of that, you know.
What was it the one place I told you where that accent, you can say hello and it sounds threatening? Oh, thank you. No, I grew up in the northwest of Ireland and in the city of Derry, and that's in Northern Ireland, but right beside the border. And I came here in the 80s to come to university, as you say, to train as a recording engineer with the lovely Ken Blair, who you know
we
quite
are
well.
mutual friends,
well. Yeah, and stayed here ever since. Loved it. Settled down.
Married Gillian.
Married Gillian. Have two fine lads, 2 boys, Fergal and Aidan, who I hope I've given them what my parents gave me, which is that unadulterated ability to think they can do anything, which is one of the conversations that we had earlier last week.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think I was amazed. I think, you know, we consider ourselves to be quite adaptable, but it's all within more or less the same area, which is of communication, I guess. That's my, music or speaking or whatever. That's where I've channeled my energies, and Sue, communication and is her main, I suppose, her main skill. And we've used it for this.
And management.
And, of course, management. Yeah, of course.
I think from the last album,
Good
the
luck with
Lockdown
that.
series, a fine voice as well.
Yes, exactly. Exactly, a fine voice too. Exactly. So, for you, where does that need for diversity do you get bored easily? Is that what happens?
I do. I'm afraid I do, and I put my mind to various different things. I think I was going to joke there about the Tour de France thing, which we spoke about last week, and blame the parents and that ability to, or giving all of us 6 children that feeling that you could achieve anything you want to put your mind to, but also that idea that if you want to make a difference, you've got to make a difference. Yeah. You know, that old phrase of if you want to walk on water, get out of the boat.
Yes.
If you want to make a difference, get out there and make that difference, get involved and go and do something. And that's generally how I live my life, which is why I end up doing fairly diverse things, whether it's political or campaigning or raising funds for charity or doing mad cycling events or even various different parts in my career.
And can I just point out that you've got 2 Ukrainian families living with you, haven't you?
Right now.
So do you want to just give them a wave? Because
we'll
I know they're watching.
Give them a wave. I don't know which camera I'm waving at there.
Wave at that one there.
To Ryan, Sophia and Mark, who are living with us, and to Irina and Galina, who joined us as well. So yes, one family wasn't enough. We've got the space, and you know, we've always believed that our home, we're blessed to have the home that we have. It's been there from long before we were born and long before we will be here. It's ours. So in some ways we're temporary residents in it, even though it's our home. And if we've got the space and people are in the need, then we share it. And we've been blessed with these wonderful people. And we've had our challenging times, and I'm sure our families have had challenging times. They've come from a really, really challenging situation in Ukraine, as we all know. I mean, you
can't imagine it.
I just think what we see and what we hear about is probably only a fraction. It may only be a fraction of 1% of what's really happening there.
Yes, yes.
What can we do? We can do our bit.
Yeah.
That's what we can do.
I
We can
think
do our little bit.
That's what's sensational about what you are. For me, what always inspired me about you, if I may be so bold, and I will be slightly humbling for you, maybe, I don't know, or a bit embarrassing, but I found that you have an attitude that I try and learn from, which is, well, I'll do it. Well, you know, I've never done it. No, but I'll try it now, and I'll do it, and I'll just get on that cycle, or I'll have the Ukrainian families, or I'll become the chairman of the party, or I'll go knocking on doors to complete strangers and tell them that, you know, they need to change their ideas, or whatever it is, or turn a mic on and, you know, learn how to record. You know, that even the story you talked about, you know, the first person you recorded, that made me laugh. Just tell that story, because some of the people might not know. The one about you when you were
when I came for interview.
When you came for interview.
Oh, I came for interview here at university, and I did the practical session on the clarinet, and that all went down well.
Fantastic clarinetist, can I say? Outstanding. Yes. Grade 8 by the time he was 13, that kind of thing, outstanding. Yeah.
Yes, and at that time I was playing the kind of plinky-plonky stuff that was in vogue at the time in the 1980s. And then I went for an interview with the head of the recording course at Surrey University, who sat down and went through all the technical stuff and all the official stuff. At the very end, he said, have you ever done any recording? And I went, well, yes, I've got a half-inch tape here. You remember what those are, Jonathan?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
And I had this half-inch tape of a recording I had made up at the University of East Anglia in Norwich with a fellow called Tryggvason. Yeah. Now, I had made that recording. I had sat there pressing the buttons that he told me to. I had gone down and moved the microphones. But the fact that I had taken part
in
a quartet recording just blew him away. He said, "You've worked with my old friend Trig. We worked together years ago. Why didn't you tell me that at the beginning? We could have done away with the interview."
I love that. I mean, it's just you try it. Your Ukrainian family experience, that came out of a sense of social responsibility and personal responsibility and moral. You have a faith. I know, you come from a background of faith. Did it make any difference to you having that?
It's made a huge difference, and it's ongoing making a difference, because it's a journey right now. Was it the right thing to do? Well, I'll tell you what happened. We talked about it, and we talked about it as a family. We talked about it with our son, who is living with us at the moment. And I was just messing around on Facebook, and I saw this notice from a lady in Merrow, and all the abuse she was getting. Why aren't you doing this for our veterans? Why aren't you doing this for our homeless? Yeah, they've got a point. They're right, and it's actually triggered something in me of, well, why am I prepared to do this for a Ukrainian family, and why didn't I do it for our homeless? And maybe that's our next step. Maybe that's our part of our journey as well. It's triggering that in us. But I responded to her. She got in touch. Her husband is Ukrainian, been here 20 years. They came round. We met the family online a few times. The father speaks good English, and we chatted away. A few days later, I was going to be traveling to America for work, and I was doing the visas with him the night before. And I said to him, "What do you do?" And he said, "Oh, I work in IT." And I said, "Well, what sort of IT?" He said, "Well, it's a bit complicated. It's technology for television broadcast." And I'm going, "Hello?
That's what you do.
You do know that that's my industry." Only turns out he worked for one of my competitors, which is great. But it was a sign of wow, you know my world, I know your world. This is a little bit closer than we could ever have expected.
Yeah.
With 3 weeks to the day, the family were at our front door.
Goodness gracious.
Having done the visas, there's all these complaints about the visa systems. Actually, the whole system has run so incredibly.
But you
smooth.
had a lot of work to do.
It's a heck of a lot of work, but it can run smoothly. Yes. And you've got to jump through some hoops. Yeah. I do feel for the people who have to go through the universal credit system, because, oh boy, that can be draconian. It can be smooth if you get everything right and you do everything and you tick all the right boxes. But as we found out this week, you miss a box by one day, bang, everything is over.
Oh my
everything.
Goodness.
And you get this notice, your case has been closed.
Closed?
All closed. And it states it very clearly. Any payments you were expecting, any payments to your landlord, any payments to anyone else have been cancelled with immediate effect. So on the one side, we've got a system here in the UK, which is I can utterly praise. It's fantastic online. Provided you've got all your details and you're IT literate and you've got access to the IT as well, which not everybody has, then that's fine. But you miss something, they come down on you like a ton of bricks. And for that, I feel huge empathy for anybody who's got to go through that. As I said with our Ukrainian family, I said at the beginning when they arrived, our Ukrainian guests, but no, actually, Jonathan, they're our Ukrainian family.
Yeah.
They've
and you share this humanitarian link with the family of mankind.
Yeah.
I think this is it, isn't it? That I think this is it's a great thing, and that's why I've looked at you and thought, yeah, this is a man I could emulate. It's a great thing. One of the reasons
not in the fact that he cycled the Tour de France.
Now that's yes, probably yeah. No, let's because this is why. And I'll be honest with you. I didn't get you in here because you've brought in Ukrainian families. Maybe that's what I should have got you in here for. What I got you in here for was because of your storytelling of a cycle. Now, you take cycling to a whole new level. I mean, I used to do, when at my street, I would do the Malverns, I would do the that was quite hard. When I was younger, I could do it, and I would ride down to Brighton and back in a day, and that was quite good. I was quite, fit and young, and didn't have a 72-inch waist, and didn't have had working kidneys and everything else. But you've taken cycling to a whole new level, haven't you, in fitness, be honest. Because to get to this point, what did you do and how did you do it?
It's a funny thing because as you say that, I sit and look at myself and I think, no, there's people I watch going up Box Hill who weigh as much as my right leg. I'm not the lightest, I'm not the fittest, I'm not the fastest, I'm not the strongest. I guess maybe I might be the most belligerent.
Yes.
I might be the most persistent.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that gets it. Like I mentioned at the beginning, when you've got parents who bring you up with that feeling that belief that actually whatever you put your mind to, you can do, you can achieve. And then I don't blame them for that. I blame my sister, who's an audiologist. Her name's Veira. She's a wonderful woman, and she's the one who introduced me to Charlie Craddock. Charlie Craddock, why did she introduce me to him? Because she was at a charity event in Birmingham with this guy called Jeff Thomas. He was planning on this mad dash around France one day, not 1 week, 1 day before the professionals.
Goodness gracious.
So he was planning that as the 10th anniversary celebration of his first tour, which he did with a couple of mates. Jeff was the captain of Crystal Palace Football Club,
yes.
Football team. He took them to Wembley in 1990. He was a professional footballer. He played for England. And then in 2003, he got leukemia. At that time, somebody told him about this book. It's not about the bike. By a fella called Lance Armstrong.
Yeah. Oh, just heard about him a little bit.
Professional athlete to professional athlete. He wrote to Armstrong, and Armstrong wrote back, sent him the book, sent him a whole bundle of stuff on cancer from the foundation, and they became friends. And Jeff attributes part of, not his complete recovery, but part of his recovery to the inspiration that you can recover from this.
Yes.
And that's the hope that Armstrong gave everybody.
Yes.
With his cancer story.
Yeah.
You can not only recover from it, but you can come back and
become a world championship. Yeah.
And we'll go into that.
Yeah.
Maybe we won't.
Yes.
But anyway, as a result of that, Jeff wanted to do it big time because he had got involved with the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Birmingham, where he had recovered. And Professor Charlie Craddock, CBE, an unbelievable man, his wife calls him the mad professor, and quite rightly so, who has this utter belief that we will find a cure for leukemia in our lifetime.
Gosh.
And at that time, I was 48, 49. I was going to turn 50 the following year. My sister said, if you want, I'll put you in touch. So I thought, why not? I'm mad enough to.
Love that,
I went and met Jeff Thomas and Dan Soley, his ride manager, and they went, yeah, you sound mad enough to me, so let's do it. So I joined that team in October, November in 2014, started training for it early 2015, and ended up riding it in the July 2015.
That level of fitness, can I just ask, I mean, I'm just going to go into practical because the planning and the strategy and the meetings were weird enough, but that level of fitness, did it frighten you to get to that, or did you just think, I'll just make it?
I don't know.
You didn't even think about it?
I didn't even think about it. I just focused on the July and having to get certain goals. You did have to meet certain goals. So in the February of that year, we were all taken to a training centre in Birmingham and put on a watt bike. And there were about 10 of us at that point, and put through our paces by a pretty grueling coach who, at the end, judged whether we were capable,
enough, yeah.
Capable of making it by the June. We had to make it by June time frame.
Right.
But that all depends where you are in February. You know, if you're 120
yeah.
kilos in February, you're never going to get down to 80 kilos in June. And that's where I needed to get to.
80 kilos?
Down to race weight, to 80 kilos.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
A dream I achieved and will probably never achieve again.
Well, I dream of 80 kilos soon.
I know.
My right leg is 80 kilos, I think. Anyway. But so you've got there. Tell us now, I mean, there's so many aspects to it. Where I will alight on certain points and stop you if you don't mind. But I don't prepare apart from generic. I just prepare what we're talking about. I'm going to go now into take us through a guided tour through the pictures that you can see. Can we make them large so that he can see them on the screen?
We've done that already.
Excellent. Now,
some graphs.
And some of these pictures, these are the stage profiles, so the up and down bits. And it's wonderful because that year's Tour de France started in Belgium and then moved to the Netherlands, and that was fantastic because it was flat. And then you moved to northern France. You can see them
getting taller and taller.
Across northern France, there's a few little bumps on there.
So take us through
some
one
of
by
them
one.
were quite painful. Well, we went through that 2015. If you imagine, that was 100 years after the Great War, and so we did a lot of the stages. We're going through what were the battlefields of Amiens and Abbeville, and we stopped and paid our respects at certain monuments. And then we toured across northern France. The way they designed the Tour de France is quite cruel because they put in the windy, wet and cobble stages for all those southern European riders who don't know what wet is. Yeah. And then they put the mountain stages in there for the people from northern Europe who don't know what mountains are. And then they put in the heat for all the people who come from the colder months. Colder countries, but you can see some of these stages. They begin.
I feel sick looking at them.
They begin to look like a sawtooth or saw upside down, and you try not
Kieran.
to look at those. Especially that last one on the bottom right is quite painful. But then after that, the
bottom left looks painful enough.
Yes.
Okay.
They generally finish with a mountain stage, a few mountain stages towards the end, and then it's a flat ride into Paris on the very last day.
I hope everybody. Oh goodness, what's that one on the far right then?
So that's the last sort of mountain range.
Oh, that's a massive mountain range.
We did northern France and finished over in Brittany, and then had a rest day to get ourselves down to Lourdes, where we drove straight down to Lourdes, had the rest day in Lourdes, praying for what was about to come, as you can imagine. And some people actually rode the Col de Tourmalet on that rest day just to give them a bit of a warm up. I thought I'd stay in bed. That, I think, is the last day.
It's a very good choice.
On the Champs-Elysees. So
of course, the Champs-Elysees. So everybody, we're going to go through a kind of guided tour. I thought you'd enjoy all this.
Look.
Right,
so
here we go.
I mentioned Lance Armstrong. The reason for that was because Jeff Thomas, in courtesy of his friendship with Lance, invited him to join us. Not for any comeback reason, but because Armstrong, in the first few years of his cancer foundation, raised like $500 million for.
Yeah, unbelievable.
For an incredible personality to bring in that amount of money. And Jeff wanted to try and revive. Is there a role for him to play in raising money for cancer?
Stop. Just so that people out there, maybe they're not Tour de France fans, and they don't know who Lance Armstrong was. What happened to him? Just briefly.
Many people would say we shouldn't call him Lance Armstrong. We should call him disgraced former pro cyclist Lance Armstrong, because he won 7 Tour de Frances that have now been those titles have been stripped from him. He was always accused of doping, of blood doping and of EPO doping, and eventually came clean away and admitted it in a now famous Oprah Winfrey interview. And so he invited us out to train with him in the Colorado Mountains in one of his homes in Aspen. And as is the nature of the man, he attracted the attention of 4 top newspaper sports journalists who flew out there with us, rode the stages in the Rocky Mountains with us, and interviewed him and talked about this comeback or this association with Jeff Thomas. And it's very controversial, because should someone who has really broken the rules like that, really cheated, and he did, badly, but he was our hero. He was. I mean, we were. Me, Gillian, Fergal and Aidan, we were all on the Champs-Elysees for every single one of his wins.
You were that serious?
Yeah. That's how much of a hero he was. He raised the profile of cycling, of pro cycling, and you can imagine the sports bodies turning a blind eye, because the money that was coming into the sport and the profile of the sport raising at that time was huge, was phenomenal. But he did wrong. Was this a chance for him to come back and actually be forgiven, or to be contrite? personally, I'm not quite sure he's contrite yet. And that.
Right. Okay. You didn't hear that.
I heard lots of things from him about it's all out there now, but I don't know. The jury's still out on whether he's absolutely contrite. But who is it for me to forgive or not forgive? That's a huge question, isn't it?
I mean, that's what we were struggling with, wasn't it? I don't know what you people feel out there, but those of you who knew about him, he became one of the most famous sports cheats in the world.
Yeah.
And that would be on YouTube. There'd be some kind of meme about that, and that would be it for me. I kind of tablets. I've got to take my tablets. I'm just thinking, surely within the Christian community, we believe in forgiveness. The redemptive story. It is the story that's told over and over and over again. Now, the question is often, for many people, what if they don't say sorry? What if they don't say sorry seriously? What the Bible describes as godly sorrow, which bringeth forth repentance, I think it's called. And now, what do we do about that? You say the French love him, and
the question about sorrow is, do I need to know that? I mean, people like Christophe Bassoons and various people in the cycling profession at that time, whose careers he destroyed.
Yes.
Has he said sorry to them? Right. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. A difficult. So
the
jury's out, isn't it?
I'd love to hope that the people that he absolutely buried, he has gone and made peace with, and that's a fair number of people, actually. So that's why he's a controversial character. But there we are, several years after he admitted it, and 10 or 12 years after his final Tour de France win, you get big sports journalists flying all the way to the other side of the world to interview him.
Yeah.
One of them said to me, he's toxic, but he's box office.
Yeah, and maybe that encourages bad behaviour. That's the problem, isn't it? That Trump is terrible. He's an awful man, but what the news media all said. As soon as he went, you have Sleepy Joe, as they were calling him. And why? Because they're not, it's business as usual. People loved the bad stories because it gave journalists, I think they fired 50% of their journalists overnight in one paper because there was nothing to report on.
But you know what, with that Tour de France, overall, at the end, about 3 months after it finished, the total was 1.45 million that we raised.
That you raised?
That the team raised for the Cure Leukemia charity in Birmingham. And that goes to good causes. That goes to the cause of actually finding a cure for leukemia. So
looking at these pictures here.
Yes, and the one Allez Lance there, he's loved in France. And on that ride, there's a young lad who was probably in his late 20s. I'm not even sure if he's still alive now. He had muscular dystrophy. He survived a very long time. He was at every one of Lance's tours, and Lance would stop or find a way before or after the race to meet with him. And what the journalists who were chasing us on this route didn't know where we were going to stop, and we managed to be able to stop and meet this young lad who was over the moon with his family and friends. We got nearly a gendarme parade going through the town where the Millau Bridge is, the town of Millau down in the south, because they were so thrilled that he was back there. But controversial to the point where we had team sponsors who had previously agreed to join us, but
pulled out.
Could not have their name associated with us once it was mentioned that he was going to join us for a couple of days.
Gosh.
But
still you raised 1.45, did it? Was it 4.5 million pounds? I mean, people, YGAF is a little bit off that at the moment, and so should we have that as a new target? 1.45 million pennies, I think.
Here are some interesting pictures. This is your very proud family.
Yes,
greeting
this
you coming
is my
back.
wife, who's pleased to see me again, looking a little bit lighter. My two sons, who probably think I'm just as mad as ever, but hopefully I give them inspiration. And
you do indeed.
My lovely sister on the bottom left, who's the one who introduced me to all that in the first place with Jeff Thomas. And the bottom right photograph is one of the early stages in the northeast of France. You might know of a ride called the Paris-Roubaix. Yes. And that goes through endless routes of cobbles through the fields. And this is the dust that it kicks up. And we were riding through there in the dead heat and the dust. If only we had known of COVID masks in those days.
Yes.
This,
what are these
arrows? What's these arrows?
the arrows. You know what? It's amazing. I always
Have
love.
you got one with you?
I've got one here. This is a stolen arrow, from, or actually a gift from the three people that you saw there. The Tour de France, this wonderful and amazing ride that we watch on television, everybody knows about, is governed by a little van, a little white van, with these three people.
No.
On the day we were riding it, the day before the professionals come through, they're flying there ahead of us, and we would see them passing us, and we'd pass them, and then they'd pass us, like the tortoise and the hare. And one of them would be leaning out the window and tie-wrapping one of these arrows to a lamppost, to a tree. And you're thinking, if they get that ever so slightly wrong,
you're in deep trouble.
You're off the mountain.
No, forget me. the professionals the next day. Imagine the peloton belting down this road, and at the roundabout, somebody's got the arrow pointing slightly the wrong way. And it shows you that what sometimes can be seen as the most menial of jobs is the most important.
Isn't that a lesson?
Yeah,
Isn't
very
it
good
incredible?
lesson.
Isn't that?
And here
Go on,
we are.
Take us
You know, as I said, I turned 50 that year that I did the Tour de France. And I cycled up the Champs-Élysées with a rolling road closure of motorcyclists. And
What a memory.
the tourists thought they got the wrong day.
They were cheering you.
They were cheering us all the way up and down.
Oh, look at that.
Until we got to the Eiffel Tower. But you can see some of the experiences that we had of people on the cobbles hanging over the handlebars in defeat, and the heat that we had in the southern mountains, where in the valley we would be dunking our head in the fountain in the village and cycle up the mountain, and it would be turning from 35 degrees in the valley to 5 degrees at the top of the mountain. But the sights and the views and the welcome, and yes, it's sadistic, it's masochistic, it's whatever name but it was a dream come true.
Oh, yeah. Do you know that I hope my good friend Tony is going to watch this interview, because he wants to climb Kilimanjaro, and he's now 61. And what's the big one in Argentina? What's the big mountain? Oh, can't remember now. But he wants to do it in January this coming year, and he said, if I don't do it soon, I'll never do it. It's that kind of thing. And what you've done is just one of those things, world famous. You've travelled and all over the place. What?
Can I just ask a question?
Okay, right, go on.
Kieran, did you ever feel that you had to give up, or you wanted to give up?
Okay, this is the story. Well, this is the story I was just about to ask.
Sorry,
and
giving up.
It leads into. Could you just comment on these last pictures, and then I want to ask you this question, because
you'll see some pictures there of the backup team that helped us. But the team here that you'll see, this is when we visited the QEH in Birmingham, and we met some of the patients, and so we got a little glimpse of the work that the charity was funding, that Charlie Craddock's clinic where they do the trials. You get a cocktail. I mean, you know more about this than me, but every patient has a bespoke cocktail of drugs, which keeps them alive a little bit longer. And Charlie Craddock explained to me that it's not about finding a cure; it's keeping people alive a bit longer until something else kills them. Yeah,
it's a treatment, basically, not a cure.
But on one of the stages, and this has happened just unbelievably, when I look back on it, I still cannot put any other words to it other than something in the universe, or I would call it God. But it was the final stage in the Pyrenees. Now, on that day, we were due to do 4 mountain climbs. We had done 2 of them, stopped for lunch, and heard, thankfully, that a bunch of eco-tourists had thrown tacks down on the road. So we couldn't do the 3rd mountain. So I'm thinking, fantastic, we can go around the valley and up the last one. We missed one. Yeah. No. They found
another mountain.
They found another one which was 6 kilometres longer.
Oh, good.
And what's another 6 kilometres when it's 9% gradient? Yeah. You're going to do it anyway, so what the heck? So we did that, and that's probably what nearly killed me, because we got to the bottom of that one and we had one final climb to do up to the Plateau de Baye in the Pyrenees, and then it was down to a flatter stage in the Massif Central. But about a quarter of the way up that, I'm in absolute agony, pain, as you can imagine, in your legs and in your lungs. And it's some ways it's not a physical challenge, it's a psychological challenge. And I got out of the saddle, and out of nowhere, I started a mantra to the cadence that I was doing on my pedals. Stay alive, Mandy. Mandy, stay alive. Stay alive, Mandy. Mandy, stay alive. That's how steady it was and how slow it was.
Was that the actual pace? Could you remember it?
Yes.
That more or less.
And the tears were flowing down my cheeks. It was stinging me. And people say, what hurts most? It's not your legs or your arms. It's your eyes and your hands. Eyes through the tears and your hands, because there's only so many.
Tears through the pain, you mean?
Tears through the salt, for starters. Tears through on that particular climb, it was tears through the pain. Anyway, I got up that mountain, courtesy of Mandy. I wrote to the charity, and I was then told by Jeff the next day that actually Mandy nearly lost it yesterday. I had no idea who Mandy was. I had no idea where this name came from, no idea how that mantra came into my head.
Okay, did you hear that? Okay, those people out there listening, okay, did you get that? This is a kind of this is what we would call a God incidence, rather than the COVID. I mean, what else? You don't know who Mandy is. You sure you didn't read it in an email contact or?
No.
Nothing?
No, I went through all of that afterwards, and when I wrote to them and they came back with that, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
It gives you that other affirmation of, that's why you're here.
Yeah.
Don't stop. Don't stop.
Curious.
It's not just the money.
No. There's something transcendent going on, actually, at that moment.
I've no idea whether I kept her going. Who the heck knows? But I know she kept me going.
Yeah.
That's
Definitely.
a very moving story.
Yeah.
Very moving.
So that's what I want. When you asked the question, that
absolutely.
was because when you told that bit, I think both David Hicks and I, there was a kind of a tear in the eye moment. I mean, I know you were quite emotional.
Just recounting it to you now has made me feel emotional. And it's 7 years ago this summer? 7 years?
You also had, I mean, just taking that aside, and we're going to finish soon, but I just wanted to, 5 years ago, things were not so good.
No.
You were not climbing any mountains.
No.
You were at work or something. You were working in Germany at the time.
I was working in Cambridge at the time, and I went into work having been violently ill that morning, couldn't work out why, came back, spent the weekend here, then ended up being rushed to hospital having had a subdural hematoma, brain hemorrhage.
A brain hemorrhage. Oh my goodness.
And afterwards, when people saw me with those staples in your scalp, with your head shaven, looking at me going, wait a minute, you're one of the fittest people we know, and you think in a moment you could be gone. And I suppose that goes back to the Tour de France thing as well, was that in a moment you could be gone, and you do what you can while you're here. And that's it. Do what you can. Yeah. But the funniest part of the story is, in some ways, the neurosurgeon was able to track it back to a day, a specific day, because they know about subdural hematomas really in detail. And, a call out to Elizabeth Cheshire, Dr. Elizabeth Cheshire in the A&E in Royal Surrey, who spotted me immediately. She saved my life, as did the neurosurgeon in St. George's, where I was blue lighted to. But 6 weeks earlier, we were on holiday in the south of France. We flew into Carcassonne, and when they say doors to manual and cross-check, then the steward or stewardess, as I call them, come on the microphone and say, be careful of the overhead luggage in case something heavy falls out and hits your head. Well, the gentleman behind me, to whom I've probably spoke Irish afterwards, flipped open the luggage bin, and it came down and banged my head.
A big case.
No, the luggage bin itself knocked me back into my seat, and that's what caused the brain hemorrhage.
Oh, my word.
Now, they say you can hit your head that way, front and back, but top down, no. So do be careful of the overhead luggage.
I'll never fly again. Gosh, but okay. Yes. I didn't know that bit about it.
And so that took a while to recover from.
Well, many years, isn't it?
Yes, it's the side effects take years to go away. 2-3 months off work, and then I was back at work. And as you well know, your album is one of the things that
that's what we're going to
took me through the Hymns
project. And it was when you told me about this, and Kieran and Gillian, through the lockdown, they were tuning in, and they were tuning in from Germany, where you were working at that time. And we were constantly thinking about you, because we'd known what I'd had violent encephalitis, which was a similar thing, although no knock on the head, not to my knowledge, although she may have hit my head deliberately at some point. You never know with with Sue.
It's a virus you had,
It's a
darling.
virus, okay, it's a virus. Okay, so she says. Anyway, but we really felt for you. But when you said that this song had been such a saviour for you, that stillness, Kieran, I have to say, thank you. So what an inspirational man you are. And I know that people out there look for Kieran's work, because I think he's got. Have you got a .com? I can't remember. Have you got it?
I had the shacketap.com. Shack shack for every, and etap for stage, which is every stage of the Tour de France. I was just looking at it over the weekend, and it does look a bit dated.
Yes, but still, you can see the pictures.
If you want to go
there
and read some of the funny stories or painful stories on my Tour de France escapades, then you can go there.
Find it on Google. But Sue,
people have really enjoyed the interview, Kieran. Really enjoyed it and found it an inspiring and amusing and outstanding time.
It is outstanding. And for that, and we thank you for coming from the other side of Guildford, the posh side of Guildford. I'm amazed you. I checked your car.
Made it to the
it may
ghetto.
not still be there. You came past the burning tyres and the smoke and the police and the sirens and the helicopters. But we've been so thrilled to have you in this room.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's such a long-term friendship that we've had, and I look forward to more stuff. We're going to meet. I'm going to one of your to Robert Windsor. What is it?
Evening with John Sweeney.
With John Sweeney.
Yes.
I look forward to that,
yes.
and to more activism and changing lives and changing worlds as you attempt to do. We're going to have that song that he said, and then a couple of others, and then we're going to end up going home. But be still for the presence of the Lord. Take your time with this one. Take the space. Just listen to this.
is moving in this place. He comes to cleanse and heal, to minister His grace. No too hard for Him. In faith receive from Him. Be still, for the power of the Lord is moving in this place.
Sometimes taking that moment out. Kieran, what a joy it's been having you.
Jonathan, it's been an absolute honour to be here. Thank you.
So great. We send big love to your Ukrainian family, and particularly to Gillian and Adrian, who mean a lot to us, actually. And Gillian is such a close friend of Sue and such a valuable friend of Sue. I just want to say, we're going to have a little moment, almost within that same atmosphere, before we say goodbye to you. On Wednesday, we attended a funeral, a Thanksgiving service, really, in Tadley, and of the dear Rachel Eves.
She used to join us so regularly on a Sunday evening, and she was a faithful member of the community. We know that she prayed for many of you and that you prayed for her.
It was a very moving service. The whole family were there, and as often in these cases, I have to sing and be, as it were, a minister in the same way. I remember asking David Bracewell, my erstwhile vicar, how do you do this? How do you go ahead and detach yourself from the emotion? And he said, I'm no use to them if I cry. And that's what I keep in my head. I'm no use to you if I cry and can't.
And cry afterwards, but not during.
So I sit there and often just deep breathe, and I heard many moving things, and I stood up and sung. Some of you watched it online, but the song that she requested every single time she was on the show, could you sing this song? And it was a song that she knew me for 22 years, 22 years, and it was King of Kings' Majesty. And rather than me singing it today, which was very high, it was very high and very difficult, because I was young and promising those days. No, I'm a bass rather than the bass baritone. And we're going to have just a couple of moments. We're going to put the pictures up, And we're going to think of dear Rachel, who was such a faithful member of this community for almost from the beginning until she died just a few weeks ago. And to her family, to Sue, to Susan, to Sarah, and to her dear friend Leslie, to the whole family, we send our deepest thoughts, because she was the same age, Sue, as you, wasn't she?
Absolutely. That was quite a shock to go there and realise that she was just 6 months younger than me. And that was
so
hard.
it's a very stark reminder. And I'd also just like to say at this point, and I'm not going to sing a song for her because I have to go up, I imagine, up to Manchester soon. The dear friend of the community, Leslie Sutton, that many of you followed and watched that interview, that very moving interview that she gave some year ago. There she is. There's a lovely Leslie. And Leslie died
on Thursday. Long time of hardship for the family and she slowly slipped away. But we are so grateful for Leslie in our life, and she was fantastic, particularly with you, wasn't she?
Sylvia and Leslie were just unbelievable to me, and kept me alive during those difficult
kind
times.
voices
Literally,
in your head.
They were. And we send love to Roger and to his whole family, and I don't look forward to singing at that funeral at all.
It will be hard.
Anyway, it'll be hard. But
time for
this
some time for
Rachel Eves, and in memory of her. Thank you, Rachel.
King of kings, majesty, God of heaven, living in me, gentle Savior, closest friend, strong deliverer, beginning and end, all within me cries out in praise, your majesty. I can but bow, I lay my all before you now, in royal robes I don't deserve, I live to serve your majesty. Earth and heaven worship you, God eternal, faithful and true, who bought the nations, ransomed souls, brought the sinner near to your throne. All within me cries out in praise, your majesty. I can but bow, I lay my all before you now, in royal robes I gentleness through the violence of these days. Give freely, show tenderness in all your ways. Through darkness, in troubled times, let holiness be your aim. Seek wisdom, let faithfulness burn like a flame. God speed you, God lead you, and keep you wrapped around his heart. May you be known by love. Speak truthfully in a world of greed and lies. Show kindness, see everyone through heaven's eyes. God hold you, enfold you, and keep you wrapped around his heart. May you be known by love.
So here we are at the end of another JV Live from the Steinway room. Just left me to do a blessing for you all. And if you know it, sing along. The Lord bless you and keep you. The song of the community as well as You've Got a Friend and all this other stuff we've enjoyed. We'd love you to join us the next time on the 4th of September, Sunday the 4th of September, when it will be our anniversary and 100 shows of JV Live from the Steinway room. We look forward to it greatly. Loads of great surprises. And it goes like this blessing.
The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine on you. The Lord bless you and keep you and give you his peace. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine on you. The Lord bless you and keep you and give you his peace, and give you his peace. The Lord bless you and keep you.
Wherever you are in the world, we send our best and God's blessing to you.
The Lord make his face to shine on you. The Lord bless you and keep you and give you his peace and give you his peace.
See you very soon, and thank you so much to Kieran. God bless you and your family, and you and all of your families. See ya. Bye-bye.